What was the movie that left you thinking, "What the hell did I just watch?" Boneham Mohawk. Watched it going in blind, had no clue what the movie was about. Within the first 5 minutes I was like, WTF did I just click on, smiley face. By the end of the movie I was like, I'd recommend this to people, but this is a movie you only watch once, smiley face. Edit also The Collector. Had no idea what the movie was about, but I've watched it a good couple times because I liked it so much. I've recommended it to cousins and guys I used to talk to, smiley face. Children of the Sea. Absolutely beautiful animation, but the plot is insane. Girl volunteers at her dad's aquarium and meets some people who were raised in the ocean can breathe water. Okay, a bit strange, but it's followable. Then about halfway into the movie the girl swallows a meteorite and everything goes downhill from there. Long story short, she becomes the universe, Us. I went and saw it 'cause I loved Get Out. But while I sort of understood the plot and the antagonist's goals, I never quite understood how they came to be. Like, why were they there? Why specifically did the MC's doppelganger decide to trade places? Why didn't the others think of it? There were too many questions left unanswered and it just left me really confused. Thanatomorphos. It's a Canadian body horror film that someone remade and named Contracted. I didn't know what it was aside from a horror movie when I put it on, and man, that movie is graphic. You actually see the decomp in the ending? Geesh. Everyone in this movie sucks and you don't feel bad for anyone. It's quite a one-time view movie. Don't remember, but it was some B-horror movie and good lord was it gory. I was drunk and still remember those scenes. Only watched it because my friend is a horror fanatic. I think it is or was on Tubi. Do not recommend unless you're into that. But be warned. Someone gets split in two vertically. Hereditary. Before having the plot thoroughly explained to me, and even after that, I had to wrap my head around the slow descent into madness that family faced. It's not my favorite horror film, but I don't dislike it at all. I'd recommend it to those who enjoy a well-written, slow cook. The blubber is just kinda stitched onto him. A decent surgeon could totally remove that shit. As for the face, I don't see why they couldn't just remove the tusks and do facial reconstruction. Lots of people live their lives with amputated limbs without being forced to live as a walrus. A serious man. I watched it for a religious studies class, and know that it wasn't made for me as a raised Christian person in the Bible Belt, but I spent most of the movie a bit annoyed, wishing the main character would say something to literally any of his family, calling them out. The dead don't die. The third wall breaking. The stiff acting. The cutesy shit with the character names being letter-swapped actors' names. Each scene seemed completely disconnected from the preceding scene and the next one. And what the fuck was Tilda Swinton doing? He never died. There are all these gaps in the audio where you could laugh but had be licking blood off the floor or eating raw meat. It just didn't hit the right chord with me. The character had no personality, I can't even remember if he spoke, it was just gross and boring. The Platform, on Netflix is one, make sure you watch it with the original language with English subtitles. I was tripping mushrooms when I watched this movie. So, take it with a grain of salt. But, I wondered to myself, what the fuck? After that movie, Weeping Camel. Movie set in Mongolia I watched at an international film festival. The old bloke playing some weird musical instrument whilst leaning against the pregnant camel's belly as one tear rolled down the camel's face was memorable if nothing else. Rubber. AKA that movie with the killer tire that roams around. I mean, it's not terrible, and I get what they were going for, but you still have to ask yourself the ops question after watching it. Did I really just spend an hour and a half-ish on that bullet train? Starts out as a pretty by-the-numbers gun-fu type movie and then just keeps going. It felt like a consortium of writers and directors got a blank check and just kept making the movie longer when it could have ended like 4 separate times. Solace with Anthony Hopkins. WTF? I've wanted to see it for a while. Boy was I disappointed. It was absolutely bad. It was almost comical how disjointed, nonsensical it was. Even the great Anthony Hopkins couldn't save the shite of a script. The Anthony Hopkins disaster of bafflement that is Slipstream. 40 minutes and then I gave up. Drove it right back to the brick-and-mortar DVD vid store, where they credited me a couple rentals for my affliction. I like to watch bad rip-off movies just to make fun of them, but it was a very bad Kung Fu Panda rip-off that was so awful and confusing I said to a friend I was watching it with, what the actual FCK was that? Skins 2017 shocking and taboo content but unique story. I enjoyed it. Playing on Netflix US. 2017 film. Saw. I thought it was a movie about carpentry, Halfway through, I threw up in my lap. My wife made us stay for the whole thing because it was date night and our tickets were non-refundable. Joshua and the Promised Land. It's what made me memorize the entire story of Moses leading the people to the Promised Land because my brain wouldn't let me forget the cursed animation. Benny's Video. It's an older German movie about a truly horrible young man. I thought it was going to be complete crap, but it was actually really nasty. Such a piece of shit, that kid. Idiocracy. It was playing on TV and at first I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen, but I couldn't look away. Soon the movie was over and I was confused why I enjoyed it. Men. 2022. No, seriously. If you make it to the end I am very sorry. But in a weird way it's artistic and left me thinking about what it could mean for days afterward. Pulp Fiction. The first time I watched it, I knew immediately that I'd have to go back and watch it again to figure out WTF just happened in the previous 2 hours. Barbarian. I can't say too much, but man, when I left I asked what the fuck was that? But in the best way. I'm really happy with what they chose to do with it. The Outwaters. Like a solid 50 minutes of the movie is someone stumbling around the desert with a tiny flashlight. You can only see like 20 of the screen. The Revenant. My date and I were silent walking out of the theater. We looked at each other in the parking lot and simultaneously said, "What the fuck?" The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I kept thinking I know these people are better actors than this. And it just got weirder and more awkward with each scene. A Serbian film. The fact that I even said I bet that's a wife and son during the family bonding and it was, still gave me a what the fuck moment. Mulholland Drive. After the credits rolled, someone seated in front of me yelled out, "What the fuck did I just watch?" I felt exactly the same way. Interstellar. Interstellar was a mind f, but I once watched Kingpin during a date and sat there in disbelief that a movie could be that bad. Sharks of the Corn. I dare you to watch it. Brace yourself first, then try to sit through that total mess of a disaster. It's bad. So bad. Tenet 2020. This Christopher Nolan movie is a mind-bending watch with many viewers enjoying it but being confused as to what actually happened. Baby Monitor: The Sound of Fear. I saw it on TV at like 3 AM, I didn't know if it was cut a bunch to fit but I still don't know what it was about. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Raccacoonie, Hot Dog Fingers, Everything Bagel, Googly Eyes, I probably forgot a dozen other weird things. Inglourious Bastards. I just didn't get it. And it's a pity, because I like Brad Pitt. But when that movie was over, I was just relieved. Blair Witch Project. Utterly stupid young people who have no business wandering in the woods, wandering around in the woods being stupid. Dead Alive, or Brain Dead depending where you're from. 1992 New Zealand horror film directed by Peter Jackson. Yes, that Peter Jackson. Greener Grass. It felt like it belongs on Adult Swim's Off the Air block. I just watched Zero Theorem. Terry Gilliam, so it was dark and dirty. A good movie, but I had to Google some explanation to get it. Uncut Gems. Not because it was a bad movie, but because the ending of the movie meant the end of basically a 2-hour anxiety attack. Llamageddon or Rubber, both are fucking ridiculous. It's my lot in life to recommend movies like these to unsuspecting people. Magnolia. 30 minutes in, I wanted to leave but kept giving it another 10 minutes. Until the movie ended. Fuck that movie. I tried to impress a film geek girl and went to Holy Motors at a film festival she was running. I still don't know what I saw. Smoking Causes Coughing. To be fair, I watched it in a Paris hotel with no subtitles at 3 AM after drinking some absinthe. Vivadium, or that film with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson about the lighthouse keepers. Fucking weird is not the word. The Aventure of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You know that final scene where the teacher transforms into a huge balloon. Tony Hawk and Boom Boom Sabotage. That movie is unhinged right from the beginning. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. The Happening. The first 5 minutes some lady just takes a chopstick from her hair and stabs herself in the neck. Me and a friend of mine were searching for MILF Manor and we found a movie that was just called MILF. 010. I feel like Cats and Avatar could have an audience participation element like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Vivarium. That movie was weird from the start and only got more strange. The ending completely threw me. Licorice Pizza. It wasn't terrible but I found it boring. Never understood the hype at all. Snooze Fest. Big Bug. French sci-fi. Kinda funny, very weird, a few scenes just begged WTF did I just watch, lol. Hail Caesar. The entire movie felt like it was building up to something big, but then it just hinted. Most of the mid-2000s dumbass stoner movies that I had the unfortunate experience of watching. Hi, Gene Dealman, 23 Commerce Key, 1080 Brussels. Still don't know what people see in that movie. Meet the Feebles. Peter Jackson has no business doing movies after that nightmarish fever dream. Mandrum. It left me uneasy and upset, mostly because I can't get that hour and a half back. I'm thinking of ending things. First time I ever had to look up, ending explained on Google. Friends and I watched We Need to Do Something last night. That's about what we were thinking. Requiem for a Dream. Watched it as part of a rainy Labor Day barbecue. Really killed the mood. Many don't know, but actually the worst rated movie known as The Terror of Chinatown 1938, Lords of Salem. Literally said to myself, what the fuck just happened? At the end of it, Sausage Party, the last few minutes I had to rewatch just to make sure I saw what I saw. We're all going to the World's Fair 2021. Vivarium 2019. We are still here 2015. Fool's Paradise. Interesting concept, lots of names, funny, but left with this feeling, man. Like I understood the plot and metaphors and stuff. But still, just WTF was that? What's that Johnny Depp movie where the main female ends up having sex with the devil? I watched Splice on Netflix and I can confirm nobody else needs to watch this movie. Mad God. It was awesome though. Watched it multiple times trying to figure it out. 2008 Horseman. Very out there. It was definitely a movie, and things happened. Jesus shows you the way to the highway. It's extremely good and wildly bizarre. Meet the Feebles. I was in awe while also being blown away. Anyone okayed that?